Hey, Rye. Hello, hello. Here from Life Food Yoga Studios, our first live on YouTube for everyone to experience some of our lives that are usually done in our membership program. So we're just going to get all the technical stuff out of the way here. I hope everyone had a great day. And if not, hopefully we can make it better. To have a great night and a good peaceful sleep. We're going to do some after work yoga today. Bear with me on the camera angles here as we work out all this stuff. Perfect. I think that should be great. So I'm Elizabeth of Life Food Yoga, and I'll just give it a few minutes before we get started. For some of my members that come regularly to our membership platform and to our live classes, we host about 4 to 6 classes a week live to keep everybody on track, to keep a regular practice, and to keep a consistent 1-hour practice. So this is a little bit of insight on how we do that. And my teaching style, I have several different styles that I'm accustomed to. I've been practicing since I was 13. And now I've been teaching for the last 3+ years. So we're going to get started how we always get started. Get comfortable, get into a seated position. Doesn't really matter how your legs are comfortable. It doesn't have to be completely crisscrossed. But just so that you can start to align, start to notice from the day if you're too forward, staring at a screen, or been standing all day on your feet. Maybe those shoulders are curved in. Maybe the jaw is clenched and tight. Maybe the eyes are tight. So just release it all now. Come into this moment. Follow your breath. Let the shoulders come down. Bring the ears back and lined over the shoulders. Shoulders over those hips. And breathe here for a moment. Notice if the mind is still scattered from your day. Give yourself deep breaths. Follow that belly, as I like to call them, big Buddha belly breaths. Throughout this practice, notice where your mind drifts and bring it back to the breath. Give yourself a deep breath. Bring your awareness to here and now. We can't change the past. We can't change the future. We can only control this present moment. We're working on being mindful in our practice, only going as far as it's comfortable for us. Taking each step in our practice, variation, and stopping where it does not feel comfortable, backing off, being mindful of our body. We are working on that this month in the platform. Mindfulness, being in our practice, being in the moment, because every day feels different. And we're going to inhale those arms up to wherever's comfortable. Even going over the shoulders may not feel comfortable, so you can bring them into goddess arms. Or bring them all the way up, energetically, powerful warrior fingers, spreading those fingers, bringing them near the ears, tucking in the rib cage, bringing those nice abdominals into play here. Feel the strength that is needed just to bring your hands up, to stay nice and tall through the crown of the head. Our heart rate is lifting already. with those hands lifted, and dropping that right hand to the side, left hand coming all the way over, all the way over. Trying to keep that left thigh down, that left sit bone on the mat. And we're going to come all the way forward, forward folding from the hips and all the way over to the other side. We're all graceful ballerinas, picturing that in the head, allowing it to be whatever it's like today. Coming all the way forward and back over to the other side. Pause, breathe, fully exhale. Let everything go from the day in that exhale, and coming all the way forward and over to the other side. Beautiful. Let's bring it all the way up. All the way up. Powerful, energetic hands. Beautiful. We're going to bring them all the way down beside us, those hands. We're just going to give a light little twist, starting to twist to let go of the day. If twists aren't good for your spine, simply let's bring your left hand first to the right thigh, to the right side, keeping those shoulders square and being up nice and tall, working on the strength of our spine. If you can, take the twist, bringing that right hand further behind you, looking towards the shoulder, and breathe. Take these as variations and just bring it to the variation that you enjoy, that you need at this moment. And bring it all the way back to center. And let's go to the other side. Right hand on the left thigh and left hand behind. Beautiful. Breathe. And coming all the way back to center. And we're going to get right up onto our feet. I know it's been a long day, but we're going to work a little bit on balancing, on grounding us from the rest of the day, bringing us back to neutral, back to a nice, quiet mind. So let's get right up to our feet. Right up to our feet, bringing those feet right underneath the hips, spreading those toes, bringing those hips aligned with the shoulders, ears over shoulders. And let's bring the palms to face forward in this beautiful mountain pose, always keeping a little bit of a micro bend, or I like to call it juiciness in the knees. And breathe. This is mountain pose. Enjoy that mountain pose. Beautiful. We're going to drop that right hand to the right side. And just as we did sitting, we're going to bring that left hand all the way up and over. Still keeping both feet grounded, pushing into both feet. Be nice and long through center. Keep that rib cage tucked in, meaning you're not bringing that chest, already doing a back bend. Keep it nice in the center and come all the way up, bringing the right hand with it, sliding that left hand down, right hand overhead. And breathe. We'll get better with these camera angles, and we hope to at least once a month bring life food yoga here on live, just to experience our community that we have going in our membership program. Bring it all the way up, hands up overhead. Drop those shoulders, for we all need community these days. And we're going to already start to subtly play with our balance. Let's bring the right hand all the way, bend at the elbow, bring it to between the shoulder blades. I'm just going to turn to my side. Left hand can come down to your side at first. And you can just stay here if this is enough for you. Your right elbow is lifted. Or you can bring that left hand to hold on to that right elbow. Keep a little bit of micro bend in the knees. Stay lifted through the chest, but keeping that rib cage aligned. Breathe. And adding a little bit of another element, that left foot can step behind slightly onto the ball of the foot. The heel is lifted, and breathe. One more breath. Fully exhale. Release that hand. Release the other hand. Beautiful. Bring back that left foot into mountain pose. Left hand coming all the way over. Beautiful. Right hand comes over. Holds on. Breathe. And then step back the right foot. Keeping your focus gazed on something not moving. Especially if balance is an issue for you. Use the gaze, but soften the jaw. Bring a little smile to your face. One more breath. Beautiful. Step it forward. Release that right hand. Release that left hand. Beautiful. Make sure your stance, your toes are separated, and you're back into that mountain pose, nice and strong. Beautiful. We're going to come right into a chair. You can bring your hands forward or into prayer and just come into a nice seated position. You can keep it as high as you need to be, a little bar stool, just trying to keep that chest lifted. Bring in that belly. Beautiful. Tilt the pelvis. Bring weight into the heels if you can, and come a little bit lower. Breathe. Powerful warrior fingers. Beautiful. Come all the way back up. Beautiful into mountain pose. Beautiful. We're going to play with our balance a little bit more here. This is what we're working on in our membership. Balance and strength. Get us through a lot. We're going to step that right foot behind. That right foot behind here. Now, it doesn't have to be right beside if that's uncomfortable for your knees. There is a little micro bend there, the little juiciness in the knees, or you can step it back a little bit further, that right foot, if that really seems uncomfortable for you. Perfect. Come up nice and tall, just as you do in mountain pose, but with that right foot behind. Beautiful. Inhale the arms all the way up, saying goodnight to the sun, and bow from the hips. See if you can come just to hip height, especially if it's hot where you are. I don't want you to get dizzy, or if you suffer from any dizziness. If you can, come all the way forward. Forward folding. Trying to bring that crown of the head to be pointed towards the earth. Keeping a little bit of juiciness in the knees. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Push into both feet. And then inhale, lifting those arms forward, back to hip height. And then all the way up. Beautiful. Sorry about that. And then you're all the way up. We're going to step that right foot back to the other side. Come back into our mountain pose. Breathe. And when you're ready, push pressure onto the right side, stepping that left foot behind. Again, coming as tight as comfortable for you. Bending through the knees, have nice alignment through the torso, shoulders back. Lifting that head. We look down a lot at our phones or devices. I get it. But let's try to look up and bring that alignment. The ears back to the shoulders. Inhale, saying goodnight to the sun. Exhale, forward fold from the hips. Coming down to wherever's comfortable for you. Wherever you're not pushing those knees back. We don't want that. Acknowledging pushing into the feet. One more breath here. Inhale up. All the way up. Come back into your mountain pose. Uncrossing those legs. Palms facing forward, and breathe. Beautiful. We're going to come into a chair, but a little bit more with our balance this time. You can come into the chair we've done before, or you can come up to the ball of the feet. When you're ready, making sure to look at something right at that chin level, looking at something not moving, hands coming forward, or hands can come into prayer if that helps with stability. And then start to bend through the knees, tilt the pelvis. Everything is active, everything's alive. Breathe. I enjoy the moments where everything is active. That means the mind is concentrating, it's not worrying about anything else. One more breath. And then push up through the balls of the feet. Come all the way up onto those balls of the feet and push down the feet. Perfect. Heel toe it out. Come forwards and back. Beautiful. And while we're here, let's really let go of the day. Let's just windmill those arms back and forth. Keep juiciness in the knees. Let's bring it up to shoulder height. And then crossing the body overhead. You can pick up the heels of the feet as you cross. Beautiful. One more breath. Perfect. Come back into mountain pose all the way down. Stabilize those feet. Spread the toes. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold to your forward fold. So if you need to stay lifted, head above heart, you can do that. Or exhale, just forward fold into it. Breathe. Let it all go. Even if you're keeping that head lifted, you can shake out the arms. Release that neck. Feeling that length through the spine, all the way in the back of the legs. You can hold on to opposite elbows. Or if you like the variation where you come all the way down, peace fingers are grabbing those toes, wrapping them around, and bring weight forward. So you get that nice stretch in the back of the legs. Beautiful. Let's all release the toes, release the elbows, and all come slightly midway, bringing the hands on the thighs, and let's push our sit bones out so the crown of the head to the sit bones is nice and straight. Flat back and breathe. A little more weight goes into the heels, but we're not picking up the feet. One more breath here. Exhale, let it go. Step it back into a high plank, or you can come down to knees. There's always different variations. If you're in high plank, squeeze those glutes, have the shoulders aligned with the heels or with the wrists. So you like to calm the palms of the hands or the wrists. And when you're ready, chaturanga, lower down to low plank or come down to knees to chest. And then pushing forward, you can release the tops of the feet, the tops of the legs, or you can keep it lifted, those legs, and just resting on the tops of the feet. And breathe. If this is too much of an arch, you can always bring it down to elbows. One more breath. Perfect. Let's put those knees down if you don't already, and bring the hips all the way back into our first child's pose. You can bring those knees out, toes touching, or you can keep them in. Stretch it all out. And breathe. I find sometimes it really helps if for that wandering mind, especially with kids, I know I do it with my kids, is putting something right here. Nice little sandbag, little bolster, eye pillows, or your gentle touch. Just little warm hands on the back there. Right at the end of the spine. Right away, the mind will start to just sense that touch. And it'll start to quiet the mind. Try it out. One more breath. Perfect. Let's come forward into tabletop. The beautiful stable table, as I like to call it, where you align those shoulders to the wrists, knees to hips, spread the fingers, engage through the belly, engage through the shoulders, so it feels very stable. Everything is active. And then moving to your cat-cows, let's drop the pelvis, bring the chin up. And you can make this as grand as you like it to be, but with control, bringing that chin in, rounding the back for cat. Releasing the belly, tilting the pelvis, bringing the chin forward. Bring it in. Bring it out. Going at your own pace, using your breath. And you can start to bring a little more motion to it as you bring it forward, maybe pressing back. And then as you round the back, bringing it forward. Be in the moment, see how it feels. Maybe just moving a little bit quicker as you warm up, with control through the belly, with control for the neck. One more breath. Perfect. Bring it back to that stable table. Spread the fingers. And we're just going to do a little bit of wrist movement, especially if you've been typing all day or you're a cook. Those wrists can get pretty tired. So we're going to bring our hands into fists at first. And we're going to push into the knuckles here, right onto the mat. Push in this little gorilla-like pose and pushing in. See if you can open up the fingers so the fingers are pointed towards you. And then if you can, we're going to lay flat the hands one at a time, bending quite well through the elbow. So the top of the hand is on the mat. Perfect. Bring it up to the fist again. Go to the other side. Beautiful. Bring it up to the fist. This time we're going to bring it back to our stable table, spreading the fingers, pushing the palms of the hands into the mat. And just going at the range that works for you. We're going to turn the fingers to face towards our knees or towards the outside of the mat, putting pressure to the palms of the hands into the mat. Now, if it's really tight through the wrist or any pain, try coming forward first to release that. Because coming back, if you're pushing down those palms of the hands, you're really going to feel it. Be nice and gentle and kind to yourself. You don't get anywhere being too cruel. Breathe. One more breath. And very slowly moving those hands to point forward. And let's come into a child's pose just so we can little circles with our wrists, relieving those wrists. Of course, you can always take out any wrist movements that are just uncomfortable for you. And if the angle is too deep, In the rest of our poses, you can always bring something underneath so your wrists don't completely bend, but more at an angle. Especially for this next move, we're coming into our first downward facing dog for today. So tuck in the toes, even if you need to do it manually here, and bring weight into the balls of the feet. Let's lift up the knees first, engaging through the belly. Push through the shoulders, hold, hold, hold here. And then lift the hips, push it back. You can walk in the feet a little bit. You're pushing all your weight back into those sit bones, raising them up, back into those heels. You can always bend the knees if you need to put less pressure on your wrists as well, and it creates that momentum to come back, chest to thighs. One more breath. Perfect. Now today I'm going to come into lizard pose for my crescent lunge. So I'm going to step my right foot on the outside of my right hand. But if that feels too much pressure on your hips, you can always step it between the hands. So you're keeping it aligned with the hip, the leg. So I'm stepping my right foot on the outside of that hand. So my feet are in train tracks. And staying here for a moment. My heel is lifted and my back foot. Looking forward, let's realign the top of the head all the way down through the spine. Feeling that nice stretch here in the hips. Ground the toes. Ground the feet. Start to pick up those hands. Look at something not moving. Bringing those hands up to where it's comfortable. Bringing a little bit deeper. Pushing a little more pressure into that heel. To this crescent lunge. If this is too deep, come up. And you can even bring in that back foot. Breathe. One more breath. Beautiful. We're going to use all of our strength already to turn to the side of our mat. Both feet are pointed forward. Let's heel toe this one into alignment here. Breathe. Hands on the hips. Push into the outer edges of the feet. Realign. Everything's active. Glutes, legs, abdominals, shoulders. Beautiful. We're going to bend through that right leg, just lengthening through the left. Bring it over to the other side. Pick it up. Over to the right side. Bring it to over to the other side. 2 more breaths at your own pace. And then come back to center. We're going to get ready for a yogi squat. So bring in the legs the distance that you can do. Maybe tilt the toes out. If you need to stay high in your squat to keep that chest lifted, stay in this football style squat. Tilt the pelvis, keep that chest lifted. Maybe if you can see if you can bring those hands up here. Acknowledging that feels right for you today. If you can, join me a little bit lower. Bring those legs in if you need to. Bring those hands together. Bring that chest lifted. If you're down here with the chest lower, come up a little bit higher. Tilt that pelvis. Keep that chest lifted. Keep the heart lifted. And breathe. Really releasing those hips from the day. One more breath. Perfect. Push all the way up, all the way up. Beautiful. Hands back on the hips. And we're going to turn to face the way of the mat. Perfect. And I did the train tracks, the lizard pose. So I'm going to move my left foot out to the side of the mat. Perfect. And come back into my crescent lunge that I did on the other side, extending that back leg, that right leg, picking up the heel, bringing those hands all the way up. And breathe. Find your crescent lunge. Making sure you have a good distance. That knee isn't over the toes. You feel everything engaged through the belly, through the rib cage. One more breath. Perfect. Hinge forward with intention, with control, and bring it all the way down. Beautiful lizard pose. You can even go a little bit deeper, maybe bringing down that knee, untucking the toe, bringing down the forearms. If that feels right to you. For one more breath. Tuck in that back toe again. We're going to use all our might, coming all the way up, something not moving, back into that crescent lunge, back into center, back into a high up squat. Let's bring in those heels. Move side to side until you get that right spot. Bring the hands onto the thighs, tilt the pelvis, shoulders back. And let's just give our thighs a little bit of a burn here and hold. Try to stop going those knees from coming in. Bringing the heels a little bit more if you need to. Spread the toes. Really use those abdominals. Protect the lower back. And breathe. One more breath. Push all the way up. Hands back on the hips. Let's point to the front of our mat. And let's step it forward. Back into that mountain pose. Perfect. Realign. Looking up. Ears over shoulders. Shoulders over hips. Engage through the belly. Engage through the glutes. Beautiful. Inhale those arms all the way up. Saying goodnight to the beautiful sun. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Whatever your halfway lift looks like, hands beside, hands in front, hands on thighs. Beautiful. There's so many variations that we all look so different. Perfect. Step it back, high plank. You can do it on knees as well. Align, use those glutes, pick up the belly, push through the shoulders. And let's just hold here for a moment. And then lift the hips, come all the way back into a downward facing dog. Even if you need to bring down the knees. One more breath here. Extend the right leg all the way back for a three-legged dog. And then bring it forward for half pigeon. The right knee comes into the chest and then comes out behind the right wrist. Bring that left leg all the way back. Make sure it's nicely behind you. If you need any assistance, you can bring a bolster underneath that hip just so you can keep the hips level. Perfect. You can be as high up as you need to be that feels comfortable for your hip, or you can lower down all the way to forearms or all the way down to the mat. Breathe. Exhale fully. If you need that exhale today, or you really feel like you're letting the day go, just exhale through the mouth, a nice little sigh. Ah. Ah. Perfect. 2 more long breaths. Fully exhale. So much exhale that your body will tell you to inhale again. And then everyone can meet back up to their hands. Perfect. And exchange sides. So if you don't want to come to exchanging the sides the same way we do, in downward facing dog, you can come to knees and exchange that way. Or you can lift up, bring that back toes underneath, coming up to the balls of the feet. Pull up through center so much you can pull up that front leg. Engage through the abdominals. Step it back into your downward facing dog. You can walk it out. Get feeling in both legs again. Keeping those ears by the arms, not trying to push back through the neck. Breathe. And then extend that left leg nice and long. Nice and long. And bring it through. For pigeon on the other side, left knee behind left wrist. Extend that back leg. You can even check, making sure it's behind you. Bring the hips to be square. Tip to be square. I know I said that. Beautiful. What is life without some humor? Hands up. Come up to your hands and then bring your half pigeon wherever you want to bring it. Even onto a bolster, a pillow, or onto the forearms, or all the way down. Trying to keep a nice long spine. Sometimes we curl in. Try to keep it nice and long and stopping where it doesn't feel comfortable in those hips, so you're starting to be seated on that one side. I'd rather you bring something underneath to support it. And breathe. Every moment, every day is a new beginning. So don't look at what happened too long. For the moments past, time to make a new beginning. One more breath. Perfect. Everyone can meet up on the hands again. Fingers, tucking in the toes, lifting. Feel everything active first. See if you can pick up that front leg and step it back. Downward facing dog. Bring weight to the heels, to those sit bones, up to the sky. You can wag it like a dog. And breathe. Perfect. Bring down the knees into tabletop. I'm going to keep my toes tucked under for giving myself a little bit of a toe stretch, especially if you do a lot of work on those feet. You can rebalance the whole body through the feet. So I'm just going to put pressure towards my heels, stopping where it doesn't feel comfortable. If you can, come seated right up to the knees, onto those heels, but we're still engaged. We're not quite in Shavasana, the last pose yet. So everything is still engaged. I'm still not fully resting, still have everything engaged. Pulling up nice through the crown of the head. You can always come forward and bring those toes back out whenever you need to. One more breath here. Exhale fully. And then coming all the way forward, back into tabletop. Release those toes, maybe pat them out. Beautiful. We're going to come all the way forward to be seated. Bringing the legs forward. And I always like to take a little pause here. Just acknowledging what it takes to stand up forward, being grateful for that. I know myself too. I had 3 C-sections. I'm very proud when you can pick up the belly, stand up nice and tall, toes pointed up, acknowledging all of the legs working here, all of the belly, all of the torso, for one more breath. Beautiful. Release those feet. Give them a little bit of a wiggle. And we're going to do a little bit of twist. Getting rid of any anxiousness that was in the belly from the day so that we can rest easy, helping our digestion at the end of the day. So let's cross the right leg by the calf. Being up nice and tall, you can hold onto the shin, shoulders back, ears over shoulders, be up nice and tall. You can stay here, especially if twists do not work for your spine. You can take the twist with me if you're comfortable with that. Left hand in front, holding on. Right hand comes up and over behind. Still up nice and straight. Use that hand for support if you need to. Looking over that right shoulder. Beautiful. We are strong. We are capable. We are healthy. Perfect. Bring it all the way back to center. You can take this twist again. You can stay up nice and tall. Or we're going to bring that right leg in a little bit closer so it's beside the thigh this time. Knee still pointed up, bottom leg still active. Everything nice and tall in those sit bones. And then give yourself a twist if you like to take that twist. Beautiful. One more breath. And bring it all the way back to center. We're going to take it a little bit further if you can, or be up nice and tall like this as well. Works beautifully using those abdominal muscles. Stack my knees over top of each other. My right foot is pointed out towards that side, on its side of the foot, as though I'm going to cross my legs almost. That bottom foot is still active, and I'm actually going to come forward if you can, bringing your fingers to the mat, hinging from the hips always, shoulders back in alignment, still back and down. A squeeze in the belly between the thigh and the belly. One more breath here. Coming all the way back up. Release that right leg forward. Give it a bit of a shake. We're going to do all the same stuff with the left leg, crossing this time. So be up nice and tall. Cross that left over the calf. Holding on nice and tall. Bottom leg is active, so those thighs can be close together. And when you're ready for your twist, left hand behind this time. Belly twisting towards that thigh. One more breath. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. Coming all the way back to center. And when you're ready, bringing in that leg, crossing at the thigh. Be up nice and tall. Find those sit bones again, especially if you find yourself falling back. Maybe you have to bring that leg a little bit forward. Or maybe you just work on bringing yourself up to those sit bones using the intention of the abdominals. Perfect. If you'd like to take the twist, join me in the twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. One more breath. Bring it all the way back to center. And we're going to go a little bit deeper. Again, I bring my foot, the side of the foot, the foot rests on the floor. Knees are stacked. Bottom leg is active. So you can have a nice little tight squeeze between the thighs. And you can bring the hands forward, hinging from the hips, or staying up nice and tall. And breathe. Two more. Come all the way back up. Uncross that leg. Pat it out. Beautiful. Let's bring the legs into a butterfly. The bottoms of the feet come together. Maybe you have to move side to side first. Move that natural cushioning out of the way. And if you like to have a loose butterfly, if your hips are a little tight today, you can bring those feet out. You can bring them in, working a little bit more through those hips. You can open up the feet like a book. The bottom of the feet or the spine, opening up near the big toes. And you can come forward from the hips. From the hips. Don't lead with the shoulders. We lead with the shoulders and the chin all day long. Breathe. One more breath. Beautiful. Now you can come up, release butterfly. You can stay here, or you can get a little bit deeper, bringing those forearms in front of the legs and coming all the way forward from the hips, shoulders back and down. And breathe. Trying to feel that nice alignment from the crown of the head all the way down the spine. Very deep here through the hips, through the lower back. I can feel it through those muscles. So acknowledge that if it's too much today. And then come all the way up. I always like to give a little bit of a intention or workout to come all the way down to that mat. So we savor that coming down into that support pose, down to the mat. So we're going to come into boat first. We're going to bring those feet, and they're going to be aligned with the hips, hip distance apart. Spread the toes, feel them into the ground. You can feel all the corners of the feet into the ground. Come up to the sit bones, nice and tall. Good alignment. Bring those hands forward. I call them warrior fingers. Spread the fingers. And then with intention, hinging from the hips, lowering down nice and slow. If you're just not quite there yet, you can always put those elbows down, the forearms down, and come down like this with support. If not, let's bring it back. As slow as you can go. Beautiful when you come all the way down. Palms face down. Let's let that torso release. Bring the feet a little bit closer to relax those shoulders. Spread the toes. Tilt the pelvis. You can bring anything down if this is uncomfortable. Maybe lower spine, you need to bring a blanket or underneath the head. Let's just windshield wiper those knees side to side at first. Releasing the hips. Beautiful. Let's walk those heels in close. Anchor in the feet, spread the toes. Let's bring the right ankle on top of the left. Flex both feet so it helps support the lower back to the mat. Now you can stay here, feeling good, making sure you're not lowering one side of the hip too much. Keep them engaged, keep them centered, aligned with the shoulders. If you can, we're going to lift up, bringing that left thigh towards the body, bringing up the left foot, holding on underneath the thigh, and staying here. Breathe. Soften the belly. Bring a smile to your face. Relax the jaw and clench the teeth. Light through the eyes. One more breath. Beautiful. I'm going to release my hand, bringing down that left foot. I'm going to do a supine twist towards the left side. Now you can cross the right over the left. You can place that right foot down on the ground and just bring them over to the side of the knees. And if the supine twist does not work for your spine, you can always stagger the knees so the hips stay more centered towards the ceiling. Your shoulders are both on the mat and there's less of a twist through the spine. If you'd like to take the cross right over the left thigh, dropping towards the left, both shoulders stay on the mat, palms face up, and breathe. If you want to take the twist a little bit further in a different variation, you can bring that right foot in front, the right knee further towards the left. Left hand goes on the thigh, right palm opens up towards the right. One more breath. Releasing that left thigh if you're holding on. Bring that knee on top of the other one and bring it all the way back to center. Placing both feet down, picking up the hips, finding center again. Maybe windshield wiping until you find everything back to center. And when you're ready, stabilize those toes again. Spread the toes. Bring the left on top of the right. Flex both feet. Again, you can stay here, making sure those hips stay aligned with the shoulders, or you can bring it in, hold on underneath the thigh, flex both feet. Two more breaths, nice and long. Feeling that belly push in towards the when you exhale. Release the hand. Bring the foot back to the earth. Your variation of supine twist that works for your spine. You cross over as I am. Bring it all the way over to the right side. Both shoulders still on the mat. Good twist for around the belly. Good twist for the spine. Wringing everything out from the day. Opening up those shoulders again. They were curling in from the day. Again, you can take the variation, bringing that right leg forward in front, or that left leg forward in front towards the right. Bringing that right hand on top of the thigh. Left hand comes towards the left, opening up the palm of the hand. Breathe, breathe, breathe. 2 more breaths. Perfect. Release the hands. Bring everything back to center. Hips back to center. Maybe wiper it out. Giving ourselves a hug. Who doesn't need a hug these days? Bring the knees into the chest, holding on. Maybe rocking it out. Maybe flexing the feet, pushing towards the heels, and then releasing the toes, pointing them, flexing, and then pointing. One more breath. And this is the opportunity I usually give for allowing people to take their own pose before Shavasana, anything they need before they relax. A good one that I like to do, especially at the end of the day, relieving all the tension, starting afresh the next day, is legs up the wall or waterfall. If you don't have a wall handy, bringing the legs all the way up, making sure you have a nice lift underneath the hips. So if you don't have something handy, a bolster to bring underneath, you can just place your hands underneath. And if you notice too much vibrations in the legs, you need a little more lift, circulation through those hips, bring your hands into fists and raise up the hips. If you can, bring it to the wall. Bring those legs at the wall. You've had a day. Bring the palms to face up. Feel the spine relaxing. Feel those hips relaxing. Shoulders rolling back. Soften the eyes. Release the jaw. If you're enjoying any other pose before Shavasana, always just being mindful. You're not trying to work out at this point. You're trying to tell your nervous system to relax. Letting go of the day. Starting that sequence of events so you can have a good sleep. Restoring the body, restoring the mind. And when you're ready, coming into Shavasana, bringing those legs over to one side. If you need to bring underneath you, such as underneath the head, underneath the knees. If you don't feel completely comfortable with the spine, especially bringing something underneath the knees is always really nice. Allowing the feet to flop open, relaxing those hips, palms facing up. Find that nice comfortable distance where nothing is active. So if my arms are too close, everything still feels active through the arms, through the shoulders. If I bring them too high, I still feel some activity through the shoulders. So finding that good distance. Same goes for the legs, to out, to in. Find that good distance where everything feels like you let go. Hence the name corpse pose. Letting go of the body so we can relax the mind. Follow your breath. Intentionally, mindfully letting go of the toes, letting go of the feet, letting go of all the legs, each powerful muscle in there, relaxing the hips, relax the belly, the very base of the belly. Maybe a deep inhale, stretching it out, and then exhale, make it nice and soft. Relaxing the belly all the way towards the spine. Shoulders are rolled back. The jaws relaxed, teeth unclenched. Make the tongue really heavy in the mouth. Soften your gaze. If you have a hard time relaxing in Shavasana, try bringing something, an eye pillow over your eyes, or a little weight on the belly, or a little weight on the feet, using those eye pillows, or a sandbag, or even rice in a pillow or in a sock. That gentle weight, signaling relaxation through the body. And then following that rhythm of breath. Give yourself 3 deep breaths where you expand the belly and exhale fully. When you're ready, just lightly wiggle the feet and toes, or stay where you are, the beauty of being in your own space. You can stay here longer. If you're joining me in movement, start to pick up the arms, extending the fingers, extending the arms. Let go. Maybe raising up one leg, pointing the toes, and then letting it go. The other leg, and letting it go. Sliding both feet to the mat, bending the knees, tilt the pelvis, and then bring it all over to one side. This beautiful fetal position, one hand under the head. Beginning again, as our body is constantly doing, restoring itself. We just have to remember to let it be. Give it some time to sleep, some time to restore. And coming all the way up, all the way up. Position. So we can acknowledge anybody practicing with us, or those in our community, as we like to do, that their energy helps us practice and keeps us going, keeps us motivated. I hope that everyone finds their community. And for more insight into ours, there's always links below. It's my pleasure to lead in this live class, and look out, subscribe, so that you can join in these live classes in our community of Life Food Yoga. Inhale those arms up. Breathe in. Bring it in through center, pausing at the head, pausing in the mind for a peaceful mind. Bring it in through the heart for a loving and open heart. Namaste. Thank you, everybody, for our first live. And I look forward to many more here. And I hope everyone has a great night.